Good afternoon, my friends. This is Paul, and today I'm going to be reviewing to you Kirby's Dream Buffet for the Nintendo Switch. Kirby sure is having a heck of a 30th anniversary. He had Kirby and the Forgotten Land earlier this year, which was the first full 3D Kirby mainline game. Plus, it also had really gorgeous graphics and some pretty deep lore implications. Then he has this, which is a very colorful and stylized food game, but that's what the review is for, to discuss the rest of this in depth. And he had a 30th anniversary symphony, so wow, he could teach Mario and Sonic a thing or two about how to celebrate anniversaries. Dream Buffet is what I'd like to call Fall Guys, but good. Which is weird, because I said Forgotten Land was Super Mario 3D World, but good. Whereas Fall Guys had 60 people in these obstacle course-like environments, it also heavily relied on online play. And by heavily relied, I mean it doesn't even have a single-player mode or an offline campaign. Dream Buffet does allow you to go online, but I didn't test that very much because I'm not much of an online guy, although the one time I did do it ran really smoothly. But this game allows you to play with computer opponents. Granted, it's only 3 others instead of 59 others, but I'm not going to complain when it actually has a single-player mode. So before I get too ahead of myself, let me explain what Dream Buffet is. Basically, you control Kirby in spherical form, along with 3 other Kirbys in the same predicament, and you roll through food-themed obstacle courses to eat as much strawberries as possible, and the fattest Kirby at the end wins. When I first told this concept to my mom and sister, my sister thought it was hilarious, and my mom thought it was the dumbest concept to be in a video game ever. I just thought it's a fun little video game. Let's not think too hard about the implications here and just go for it. And the game doesn't seem to try too hard either. The story is basically that Kirby is trying to eat a cake. He grabs the fork, but the fork makes him shrink, and Kirby doesn't even bother thinking, why am I shrinking? He's like, I want that cake! 3 others race him to it, and that's the whole premise. There doesn't really need to be a premise, though, because this is a really cheap game, and I feel like if there was a big story, it would probably worsen the price, but we'll get to the price a little bit later. For now, just know that this is a very simple pick-up-and-play obstacle course style game. You move with the control stick, you jump with either the A, B, X, or Y buttons, and you press the R button to use copy abilities. Although in this case they're not really copy abilities, they're more of just abilities because you get them from item boxes. A lot of these are things that have been around in Kirby for eons, such as burning and tornado, but now they have a dessert that is similar to the power that Kirby's using. For example, if he has a red pepper, that'll cause burning because red peppers are hot. Or if he has a cupcake with spiral frosting, that'll be the drill. And it's just really clever how a lot of classic Kirby themes are made food related, such as a lot of the enemies being redesigned so that they look like food or that they have little frosting over them. And the attention to detail is just really great in this game. You've got the 2 master hands from Smash that do the countdown for the starting race. All of the food looks so good that it actually rivals Peach's birthday cake in Mario Party Superstars, and that's saying a lot, because I thought that course was really gorgeous. Honestly, if it weren't for the fact that a lot of what's in the background is kind of hazy, I would have expected this game to be running on much more powerful hardware. HAL Laboratory has really optimized this game wonderfully so that it works on the Switch without a hitch. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, it just worked out really well. Overall, I didn't really find any performance issues, any real graphical hiccups or anything like that. Any gripes I had were mostly nitpicks. So the progression system in this game is done incredibly well, which is where the nitpicks are coming in, but again, let me not get too ahead of myself. After you finish the Grand Prix, which consists of a race, a mini-game, another race, and then a battle royale where you duke it out in a top-down arena, then you're ranked on who has the most strawberries, although you can also get bonus strawberries for fulfilling certain tasks, such as hovering the most if you fall off of an edge, or eating the most blueberries, because every now and then there's other types of food. So you can still win even if you don't get in first place. Now at the end of each of the races, there are 3 giant cakes but there's only one cake for each person, and there's only 3, so player 4 is just going to have to miss out. So that can give you that little extra boost of confidence if you really need it. And it's just really satisfying to see Kirby roll along and the cake slowly diminishes. It's a very nice feeling type of game. Everything about it just comes together to create a really pleasant feeling to it. And one thing that is really interesting is that this game has a very neat use of HD Rumble. You can actually feel Kirby rolling around, and you really feel like the textures are adding to the friction, and that just translates really well onto the Joy-Cons. So getting back to the progression system, after you beat all 4 of those modes, and you get your ranking, then you get points. And those points increase your rank, which in turn gives you rewards. Now, there are a lot of rewards to unlock in this game. Not only can you get bonus music just simply by having save data of other Kirby games on the Switch, but you can get up to level 135. And there is just an insane amount of stuff to collect. There are character treats where you can use them to make a custom starting point in the races, or you can use them to decorate the cake that appears on the title screen and in the main menu. You can dress Kirby up in different hats and also different colors and costumes from throughout the series. There are several different obstacle courses and mini games that you can unlock, and you can even keep unlocking music tracks. And in addition to that, this game has an in-game soundtrack player, and it even has a history of other Kirby games on the 3DS, Wii U, and Switch. Admittedly, nothing before that, but still you get a music track from each of those games. So that's a lot of stuff that you can just mess around with. But here's the problem I have with it. You can't really choose which of the obstacle courses, mini-games, or music that plays. You're kind of just given it at random. I think there's a pattern where if you've just unlocked a new thing, that will be used in your next Grand Prix. I'm not 100% sure if that's how it works. But I do wish that there was a level of choice. I wish you could just, if you were, say, playing a single race, which you can do, that you could say, okay, I want to play on the waffle course, and then just do that like you can in Smash Brothers. I don't know, did they think that the game would be more expensive if you had choice? Maybe they wanted it to be like Fall Guys, where you don't know what obstacle courses you're getting. You only set parameters for the types of obstacle courses. If it's trying to be like Fall Guys in that regard, I'm not sure I 100% approve, but that is just a very small nitpick. Overall, this is a fantastic game, and it's only $15. Unfortunately, you can't rent this game or get a physical version as of yet, so it's exclusively an eShop game. But I do think that Nintendo has had a habit of overpricing their games lately. Their retro games alone cost $50 a year just to access that category. But I think that Dream Buffet is one of those games where it justifies its price tag, but at the same time, I could also see the argument that they could have priced it higher with how amazing it controls and how good the graphics are and how amazing the music is. I almost forgot to mention that the music has a very jazzy big band feel to it, and for perhaps the first time in the series, probably besides Epic Yarn, the game actually uses real instruments for a lot of its songs. At least I think it does. Unless the game was lying in the soundtrack when it literally said jazz band for one of them. And it overall has a very pleasant sound. And I think it's probably my second or favorite Kirby soundtrack next to Epic Yarn. I just think everything comes together to create a really fun experience. You can play locally with other friends, so that is so much easier to do than Fall Guys, because my gosh, my friends and I had so much trouble even when both of us were on the Switch, but to my knowledge, It's so much easier in this, although I also don't have any friends that have this, so I couldn't test it. But I did get to test out the online, and like I said earlier, it ran smoothly. The only problem I had with it is that you're put into a training lobby and you have to wait for players to match up, which I get it. You kind of have to do that in online, but considering that if you're playing with computer opponents, you can just jump right in and play, I don't know, it just feels like a downgrade from my perspective. But if you're an online junkie, I'm sure that probably won't bother you. I also like how this is a Kirby game with difficulty options. There are 4 difficulties for the computer opponents, and even on the easiest difficulty, if you are royally screwing up, the computer opponents will indeed put up a fight. So it's not stupid easy, but it's easy enough where anyone could probably pick up and play it if they have a decent amount of skill. And if you don't have skill, there's a practice arena where you can roll around and mess with the abilities all you want. So overall, there's just a little bit of everything. The only real problems I have with the game are the lack of the ability to choose which of the courses and music you can do in a match. I also wish there was kind of more to do, because it does seem like it gets a little bit repetitive after a while, but the stuff that is repetitive is very good quality. So with that, thank you very much for watching. Let me know down in the comment section what you think, and if you have anything that you need cleared up. A special thank you to my patrons for my Patreon page, Matthew Rakowski, Splatcat, and Sploon Ghost. I say this all the time, and I think you guys are drowning it out accidentally, but you guys are really helping me out tremendously. So if any of you want to join my Patreon, the link will be in the description. I actually put it so that it's a default message in my descriptions now, so I'll no longer have to forget about it. And until the next time, keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless. Bye!